Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, November 24th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of technical analysis and how it can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Real quick before I get started, I do want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering here in several days. So if you're liking what you see as I go through the video and want to learn more about this tool and how it can be used to build consistency as a trader, then if you're watching on YouTube, then down in the description box, there's a link you can click on to get signed up. Or if you're watching at my site, then somewhere right there on the webpage, there's going to be an area for you to sign up to get, or area for you to click on to get signed up. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And if you're liking what you see, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Before I get into each of the stocks, a couple clarification points. First off, I'll be doing what is the 30-minute time frame, meaning that each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, if in case you're new, represents 30 minutes worth of time. And then next, the market is still open for a little bit. So the candlestick right here will be moving around. And I like to do this when the market's still open for just a short amount of time, because sometimes you can capture some really entertaining and interesting action. But the general levels here that I'll be talking about are still going to pertain going into Wednesday, because the market's close enough to closing where these levels aren't all of a sudden going to become irrelevant. But just want to get those couple things mapped out here. So the first dynamic here that a lot of people will be watching and paying attention to, and rightfully so, is going to be that resistance trend line right there. That's a very straightforward. I don't think I gave the ticker symbol, did I? First one here, QLGN. Again, I'm sorry, QLGN. But the first, level, like I said, that I think a lot of people will be watching and have probably put into play, because that trend line is not some sort of special skill that I have. I assure you, people that use charts, understand charts, have put, that trend line in play. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same trend lines, wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. While nothing is guaranteed, is it at least valid? Is it at least rational to think that if the price can work its way back up to there and then get the break of that level, that break in and of itself could create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure? It absolutely is. So definitely going to want to keep a close eye on that resistance trend line right there. As far as areas of support are concerned, main area to watch if there's any sort of pullback, in my mind, going to be right down there around $2.10, which was the previous breakout area right there. There does seem to be a little miniature area right up there, but I'm not quite sure if that's going to be strong enough to hold. So if that does ultimately fail, then yeah, right down there, I think is going to be an interesting level. But overall, those are going to be the two main technical levels that, again, I think people from around the world are watching. So we'll see if there's any sort of self-fulfilling prophecy dynamics associated with them or not. Next one, KTTA, and same exact dynamic here. And why I wanted to put them back to back so that I don't have to repeat myself. But the trend line right there, check out the trend line and how just perfect it's been. So right there, then you had a rejection there, and then another rejection there. So once more, I assure you, a lot of people have put that level into place. So while nothing is guaranteed, it's more than valid to think that if the price can work its way back up to that area, get the break of that trend line, that break could very well create a whole bunch of a new round of momentum. And as this one demonstrated today, it can move, and it can move very quickly. So we'll see if that comes to fruition or not. But that's really going to be the main dynamic here, is all about that trend line right there. If you like to play pullbacks, kind of sketchy, because the price right now is essentially just down in this no man's land. Sure, you could say, well, I want to see the price come down to this gap close location around $3, but that's basically another 50% it would have to drop. Is that possible? Of course. But because the price is, like I said, in no man's land right now, as opposed to the first one we looked at, where you at least had some previous breakout points that you could base some pullback points off of. Right now, in my mind, like I said, this dynamic and the big question moving forward is all about, is this thing going to snap back up there and get the break of that trend line? So we'll see what happens with it. But no doubt about it, this one can move, and it can move very quickly. So keep an eye on that trend line. Next one, AMC, and no need to beat around the bush, a rough day. Now, is the entire chart destroyed? Absolutely not, but the downwards move today, it wiped away quite a bit, including what had been a good, solid, trend line that was forming. And on top of the trend line, it also, broke down through a bunch of key levels of support. You had the purple line, 50 period moving average, very famous level in the world of charts. You had the pink line right there, the 200 period moving average, another very famous level in the world of charts. So yeah, a very rough day today. Again, does one day destroy an entire chart? Absolutely not. When I squeeze this down, you'll see what I mean. So you can still see that it's still up at higher bases and consolidating at a higher level. But that's also why this level here now becomes, I'm not going to call it a do or die, but $38, very, very important, because 38 is represented in an area where, and again, I'm not saying this will occur, but if the price were to come down to 38, break down below it, and continue on down, now all of a sudden, what would you have? Well, you would have the price all of a sudden right back inside of this big old range that had already broken out of. And price movements that go back to where they were not exactly a sign of true power, true strength, or anything like that. So just something to keep in mind on why, $38, again, not a do or die level, but certainly very important because nobody wants to see the price going back to where it was. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, if the price does bounce back upwards, then as of right now, that main area of resistance is going to be right around $40.50. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, overall today, pretty rough. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and what a crazy, crazy day on this one it was. A big pullback here, but to give some credits due, let me actually zoom in here a little bit. The last part of the day, you can see, has had a very, very nice bounce from basically 1060 back up above 1100. So we're talking about basically a $50 point, give or take, bounce right now. Still a lot of work that needs to be done, but like I said, now the main question going forward becomes, all right, yeah, no doubt about it, that was a nice move. Is this the start of something bigger, or is this just some sort of dead cat bounce type movement? That'll be a main dynamic to watch, but a level of support that I think a lot of people will be monitoring very closely is going to be down here right around that 1065 mark. Let me squeeze things down because this is just essentially a previous breakout level, and not exact, but I mean, we're talking about a $1,100 stock here, so there's going to be a little bit of fluctuation between prices, but generally speaking, you can see right here was an area of resistance, then it became a level of support, and then once again acted as support right here. So if the price were to come back down to that area, then you better believe longs and shorts, everybody in between, going to be watching that level very closely. In terms of levels of resistance, if this bounce continues, you're going to have that pink line right there, the 200 period moving average, and then that purple line there, the 50 period moving average, which is valid at, let's call it 1125. So if the price can actually get up above 1125 and start to stay above it, that would imply that, it's gotten some clearance through a couple of these very stubborn levels of resistance. So 1125 going to be a very interesting level moving forward from that angle of things. But yeah, no doubt about it. A lot of downward selling pressure showed up today. However, this afternoon action now makes it a very, very interesting dynamic. So we'll see if this is the start of something, bigger that turns into a reversal back to the upside or not. Next one, LCID, and not a whole lot of new things to talk about. So this should be pretty straightforward, but it remains a very popular stock out there. So, based on that, I want to at least keep a couple things updated. But the one level again, which is not really anything new, but it's new in the sense of, well, we have confirmation, and that has to do with this 49.75 mark, that green line right here, which I talked about in previous videos. So you can see today, price pulled back. And surprise, surprise, the power of charts found support right at that area where you would want to find it and is now getting a nice little bounce to the upside. So good to see that that level is holding and holding strong. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that line for now as, given that 49.75 has proven to be a good, solid, firm area there. As far as overarching levels of resistance, yeah, you still got that level right there at, we'll call it right around 57.50. But in the near term, what I'm curious about is how does the price behave around that trend line right there? So keep an eye on that trend line. If the price can break above there, again, does that guarantee that it's headed back up to the 57.50 mark? Of course not. No guarantees. But does it become a little bit more valid, a little bit more rational to think that that could be possible? Absolutely. So keep your eye on these levels here headed into Wednesday. Next one here, VLON. And I did hesitate. Are you sure you want to keep this one on the watch list or not, Clay? And the main reason for that is the last 30 minutes are looking pretty shaky. But to be fair, as I mentioned earlier, one day is not going to destroy a chart. Does one 30-minute session destroy an entire chart? Not necessarily. Now, if this thing just closes down there at 450, that's pretty much game over. But yeah, it does. It's not looking nearly as attractive as it was. However, if you do like to play pullbacks, then you do have a pullback, going on right here. And I guess the one positive here is you don't have to worry about, oh, great, am I suffering from FOMO? Am I chasing the price? No, the people that were buying right there and buying right there, FOMO got the best of them because they chased and now they're paying the price for it. But, if you're still just observing from the sidelines and you like to try to play pullbacks, then yeah, this is still an interesting setup here. But, with setups like this, you want to make sure that you have proper risk management and control in place just in case this, ugliness continues to get more ugly. But as far as support levels are concerned, interesting level right there at potentially the $6 mark. And then after $6, next previous level down there right around the 515 mark. So keep an eye on those couple levels if you do like to play pullbacks. But I do totally understand because, like I said, I struggled with it too. If you're like, nah, I just don't like the way this thing looks anymore at all, then I totally understand that too. Next one here, ticker symbol CRXT. And I mean, people are talking about this one out there, but not a whole lot. And I'm not sure why. I mean, it had great volume today, and we got a very nice pattern here setting up into Wednesday. So maybe more eyeballs will catch it on Wednesday, and that would always be a good thing from the self-fulfilling prophecy attribute of things. But really the main dynamic here that really stands out to me right up there around $6.40. Again, just generally speaking, you can see that whenever the price got up around this area, it was just like the momentum would disappear. So you're going to want to keep a close eye on that from a technical jargon point of view as the breakout area. So if the price can work its way up to 640 and then get the breakout of it, again, does that guarantee the price is going to keep moving forward? Absolutely not. But given it would be a breakout, it becomes very valid to think that that could in and of itself create that much more upside buying pressure. So keep a close eye on that. As far as pullback areas are concerned, main area here is that former breakout point right down there on $5. So keep an eye on that if you prefer to play more of pullbacks. There's also the interesting area down there with the moving averages. So that's just a personal preference type thing. But the main dynamic here is got the big move on big volume. Now volume has dropped off a little bit, but it's just consolidating. So the question just becomes, is this a temporary little consolidation before another big move forward? We'll see what happens on Wednesday. Next one here, ticker symbol PTPI, and this all is based around that premise that I talked about earlier about, well, at least you don't have to worry about suffering from FOMO, fear of missing out, chasing the price, because the pullback has already occurred. But this is just a big question, and this is, what you're going to have to figure out is, all right, do you believe that this pullback here is just something temporary, that is actually going to be healthy, that leads to something further? Because to be fair, it had a lot of upward strength today, big gap up, and it still has plenty of opportunities to build a higher base. So from a trend building perspective, the opportunity is still there to build an overall trend. But, that just really is a question of, all right, is this just a healthy consolidation, which you can see both sides of, right? Nasty drop down, came back up, and now kind of came back down, but it's just kind of chopping around at a much higher level than where it was. So if this is just a temporary little consolidation, then there can definitely be some good upside movement. And a level here that I think a lot of people will be watching to help get that confirmation is that trend line right there. So if the price can come up, I see that good price action right now. But if the price can come up here and potentially break that trend line, then again, no guarantees. And I realize I keep repeating myself, but you can never say that enough because I don't want to mislead somebody to say, so if this price is broken, then it'll for sure go. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we're thinking in terms of likelihoods of, rational thoughts. And yeah, it becomes rational that if the price were to break that trend line, that it could push up there to, the $3 mark, if not even higher, especially if it's a high volume break of that trend line. So keep an eye on that. But if you do like to play pullbacks, then an interesting spot that, the price could potentially pull back to right down there, that purple line, which you now know is a 50-period moving average, currently valued at $1.70. But all in all, like I said, if you like to play these setups where there's a big explosion, then a pullback, and you just set up a risk versus reward from, all right, well, let's assume that this is a strong pullback, then yeah, you can really structure some good trade plans. Next one here, ticker symbol AMD, and overall, it finally acted human here a little bit. It had been just, it's AMD, right? Just goes up, it seems like, every single day. But big pullback the past couple of days, but you just can't make this stuff up. Notice right where the price just started to bounce from. Right there at the pink line there, that 200-period moving average. Are charts perfect? No, nothing is perfect. But are they a tool that I would argue is worthwhile to learn and implement within your trading? Absolutely, and we have another just classic example of that right there. So on that note, moving forward, the key level of support is definitely going to continue to be that pink line there. Again, 200-period moving average currently valid at, let's just call it $146. If the price does continue to bounce, then history is telling us now that that purple line there, 50-period moving average, is going to be that key stubborn point. You can see right there, price fell down below it and then just struggled to get any sort of momentum back up above it, and then eventually, fell further today. So if this upwards bounce does continue, then it's really all about, let's call it the 153.50 mark, which is the current value of that 50-period moving average. And it all just depends on your strategy, right? From an overarching standpoint, you can see there, the trend is still plenty up. Now, if you bought in as a day trader right there, well then yeah, you're probably looking at this much differently. But so, from a day trading perspective, it depends on your perspective. From an overarching standpoint, yeah, the trend is still perfectly upwards. And as long as the price stays above that pink line, then that's certainly the ideal scenario moving forward. Next one, PLTR, been doing this one on a routine basis. And now we have some very interesting price movement, which again, just because the price behaved like this doesn't mean that it's for sure the bottom, but it makes sense to now throw out the question, okay, maybe, just maybe, the bottom is finally in. Why do I say that? Well, up until this point, every time the price would come back down and break through lows, it would just keep bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. But you can see that today, that was not what happened. In fact, the exact opposite happened. Came down, broke slightly below that green line, and now all of a sudden is bouncing back upwards. Again, does that mean that this is guaranteed to be the bottom? No. Is it at least valid to start to think, okay, maybe the bottom has finally been reached. Maybe this area down here around $20.10 is going to be a level that symbolizes that there's no more bleeding. The bulls and the buyers are stepping back in, and this is going to be some sort of reversal point. Yes, that's a valid thought process to have. Case in point, had the price come down here and then just done what it's been doing, right? So broke those lows, continue to collapse. Right there, broke those lows, collapse. So had it done that and continued to collapse, and then I was sitting here saying, hey, it's looking like this could be the bottom, you'd be totally justified to say, what are you talking about? This is the bottom. Why would you think that this could be the bottom? It's just moving down to new lows. But again, that's not what happened here. So $20.10 remains a very important level to watch, because again, if the price just crashes down through there, well, then it no longer makes sense to be questioning if this is some sort of bottom that's forming. But if the price does continue to bounce, then that main area of resistance is going to be right up there around the 21.10 mark. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you can start to see the power and the usefulness of learning the tool of tactical analysis to build consistency to help make good, rational decisions, then definitely get signed up for the class. Like I said, it'll be next week, Thursday on December 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely get signed up for it, completely free. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to make these videos, then please communicate that to me by doing two very easy things that are much appreciated. Hit the like button, leave a basic comment. It could be saying thanks. It could be a ticker symbol that you traded today. It could be just saying hi. But those two things communicate to me that you enjoy these videos. And as long as I know people are enjoying them, finding them helpful, then I have no problem at all continuing to put in the time and effort to put these videos together. So again, if you want to learn more about the tool of tactical analysis, definitely get signed up for the free class. Hit that like button, leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching and hanging out.